Hello, everybody. My name is Anjana Gopakumar. I don't take pride in saying that all of you must know me. If you don't, I'm Anjana Gopakumar on Instagram. You can find me. I do a little bit of work around food and beverage. She used magnificent words to describe me. First of all, thank you so much. I appreciate you. I don't know if I'm all of that. I don't know if I am someone who brings in the whole culinary landscape of Kerala to the world, but that's what I aspire to do. Today, I'm here to tell you a story of mine of how I reconnected with my child. No, I am not married and I do not have a child out of wedlock. My child is my passion for the food and beverage industry. It was like a mother who really loves her child but had this situation where she was a single mom and couldn't do it. Like lost passion, was working so much that she couldn't connect so hard and then came back to life altogether. So, my journey starts, if I have to start like from childhood, in 2015 when I wanted to go do graduation, I had decided that I would be a chef. Now, my idea of a chef was not someone who's cooking inside the kitchen, right? My idea of a chef was Sanjeev Kapoor on Channel or Aditya Bal or Nigella Lawson for that matter in food and travel. Like, you know how Ranbir Kapoor says in the movie, मैं उड़ना चाहता हूँ नैना, मैं रुकना नहीं चाहता ना. So I was like that. I wanted to fly. I wanted to be on camera. I wanted to do that. But little did I know being a chef means you work 32 hours a day. You're mistreated as a woman in the industry. You just get asked, roti banani aati hai? Do you even cook? Right? That's what I got reduced into. But then I was super passionate and passion never takes a back seat. So I decided I would do it, but life had other plans. I was diagnosed with atopic dermatitis and my professor just told me, Anjana, drop out, yaar. Nobody's going to hire you right now. You have allergies. It's okay. You can do something else in F&B. And I joined hotel management. I dropped out again. Dropout has been my bread and butter for a very long time. I mean, all of us are in Kerala. Dropping out of college is not a great thing, especially being a woman who didn't do science in school. What a pathetic thing to do, right? So I dropped out of college from the same college twice. And then I went back home. My parents are chill, but my neighbors, my friends' parents are all like, oh my God, endha prashnam line aano? You know, is there, did she have an affair? Is that why she's dropping out? So my parents are super cool people, okay? They're like meta-humans. They're like, whatever happens, we're there for you. So is my brother. So finally, I decided that, food blogging could be something that I could do. I was already part of something called Eat at Trivandrum. And I started my own page. It was not called Anjana Gopakumar back then. It was called Thank God I'm Fat. And for all the reasons, my brother named it. So I was a little flat, plump kid, and he's like, oh, TGIF, let's do this. Thank God I am fat. He comes up with the weird names. His band is called When Chai Met Toast. So I don't know. He comes up with weird names. Anyways, we together decided that, I would write about food and I would, do... At that time, videos were not popular. We're writing, we're creating blogs. Now, I'm not from science background, so I reach out to my engineering friends to help me with the back end of a blog. And I start thankgodimfat.com on WordPress. Now, I don't even know how to use WordPress because I'm tech stupid, right? Pardon my language. But then I somehow manage and then I write. I'm all over. Like, I'm one of the first few food bloggers from Kerala who did a good job in writing a blog. So food blogging was not very popular in Kerala at that time. I'm not that old. I'm just saying that food blogging just happened to be really popular recently, okay? And then, so I started writing and Eat It Trivandrum was happening and then eventually suddenly people are posting photos of food. So I'm like, okay, let's do this. My photos of fish curry did not even look like fish curry. That's why I have Kirtana now taking all my photos and videos. Because when you don't know how to do something good, give it to someone who can do it for you. So my fish curry and appam did not look very appetizing. But then I was like, you know what, steadfast, I will do this. I'm not giving up. I did blogging for a couple of years. And that's in Kerala Foodie, and I think Ebin Jose and all were already there at that time. They were doing YouTube. We were focused on Instagram. O'Neill Sabu, Eat Kuchi, Eat It Trivandrum, all like probably 10 food bloggers from Kerala fighting it out to be popular. Everyone's on the rat race, but nobody is in that field of, oh, I should make money from this. I should ask the restaurant this much for the next coverage or whatever. We're just like, okay, let's see where this goes. We're going for tasting sessions. We're not asking for money even before, they call us for a tasting session. I'm good. I'm getting brand collaborations. I'm making a little bit of money. We're doing barter deals. with brands for food because you're poor and you can't eat. So they'll be like, we'll give you food, please post about us. So now don't do that if anyone's doing it. You don't need food for posting. So we're doing barter deals, we're doing brand collabs, and one thing leads to another. I'm famous. Suddenly, at least in my city, okay? I'm suddenly walking out and they're like, oh my God, I follow you. I'm like, thanks guys. Oh my God, please don't do this. Let me take a picture. Yeah, sure, okay, selfie. We do this, okay? And this is going on. And then COVID happens, out of the blue. And I get one work during COVID from Kerala Tourism, and I'm still hopeful. Like, guys, I worked with Kerala Tourism during COVID for Onam because everyone's celebrating Onam at home. Let's make payasam and show it to the world. So we do that, but then COVID was not easy for a lot of us, was it? Like, at home also, my brother's an alternative career. He's a musician. He's crying because he doesn't have shows. I'm crying because I'm only making parota, but nobody's giving me money for it, right? We are making different things at home. Shawarma is made at home. Parota is made at home. Chicken fry, shavaya, we're doing everything, but nobody's paying you for it. Now, how do you survive? So I had a job, like a corporate job happening. That's a long story for another TEDx maybe. So that is happening. And then I decide, I have never gone to a proper school to study. Like after 18, I just dropped out and I've been working, right? Fair enough. I decide to migrate. Like everybody in Kerala right now, I decide to go to Canada when Canada was not cool. Let me tell you. Canada did not have a lot of people. So I did not have a lot of people to call and ask, listen, I'm going to come. Do you have a house where I can stay? But still had enough people, enough Malayalis, where you can go and be like, there is chambavari, let's eat chambavari and rice for survival. So I did that and I moved to Canada with so many aspirations. I'm thinking I will go there and meet restaurants. I have 30,000 followers. That's like a lot of followers, right? I can go to restaurants and be like, I can do coverage for you. Please pay me in dollars. But really nobody cared. Honestly, I reached there. I went to George Brown College in Canada to do food and beverage management. At least this time, I did not drop out. My parents are like, no more dropout. You're not coming back if you're dropping out again. So I go to Canada, I do my food and beverage management. Canada wasn't easy. Honestly, it looks very happening from when you sit in Kerala, when you are in a tropical land, there's sunlight. You can go out anytime wearing these clothes. You can go out anytime wearing a cotton kurta. But then if you want to step out and wear 3 layers of clothing and walk like meters to get a bus to go to college, which takes you 2 hours, and because you're brown skinned, you're not getting a job, it's not fun. Now, I come from a middle class family in India. $1,000 there is 60,000 rupees here. That's probably my mom's or dad's salary. And sending that every month is not easy. And then you struggle and you lie to them like you got a job, but you don't have it, and then they catch you and whatever happens. My mental health at that point, if I could explain what it was, I couldn't even write my journals. Like, I was so sad. I didn't have money. We were 12 people living in a house. 12 Malayalis just sticking around like, we'll survive. Okay, that's it. Rice and idiarchi for like days. That too, 1 meal a day. I'm not kidding. And not even a fact that, see, this is coming out of privilege as well. I acknowledge it. At least I get to say that I went to Canada and struggled. I didn't have that kind of struggle. I'm not saying that people don't have it. Please don't think that I'm undermining someone who actually has struggles. But with all due respect, it was difficult for me, and each person's struggle is different. At this point is when I lost my connection with the whole idea of food blogging, or what I grew, or what I helped cultivate in my hometown. And I see my followers are dropping, and I start making cooking videos, but it's not great. They're falling, and then my mental health is like holding a whirlwind in a teacup, right? Like, it's so difficult. You can't contain it. And then you see everyone's 100K back home. Like, everyone just has 100K. You open Instagram, someone's eating chicken. Someone's pouring mayonnaise on mandi. And everyone's like eating biryani. Everyone's doing ASMR. People are doing mukbang. YouTube, they have 100,000 of followers. Everyone's getting a silver play button. And the only silver I can see is a silver lining somewhere. Right? I can't even imagine what I'm going to do with myself. If I knew what retroveal means, like, oh, you can reconnect. My life was a Takeshi's Castle at that point. Like, I was running. Temple Run, Takeshi's Castle, Subway Surfers. I was everywhere. And then my parents only told me not to drop out. They didn't tell me don't come back. So I graduated. And I tried to get a job, and I got a job at a Malayali brand in Canada. It was doing well. And then I text my brother, who's the biggest supporter of all. I'm like, I'm done. And he goes, oh my God, should I call you? Is it okay? Because nowadays, our mental health is at the brim of something that you message somebody, you're done, you're scared. And I'm like, Anu, Achata, I'm just done with this job. He's like, oh, I was going for a sound check, dude. I was like, okay. And then I decided, I was like, Achata, do you think if I should come back? And he's like, if you think you have the confidence for it. And then my brother said, remember a few years back when I came back from the US and I asked Amma, can I come back? Amma will say the same thing, just do whatever you feel like. So after a few sleepless nights of tossing and turning, I was like, maybe I can go back to Kerala and do what I've been doing. And then I borrowed some money from a friend, like I took his credit card and I booked the flight ticket back home. I remember I was so nervous because I didn't tell my parents I was coming back. I just landed up. This time, see, people from abroad, they do a lot of surprise videos on Instagram because they surprise and then they go back. I'm like, I'm back with 2 suitcases. And my mom's like, oh, when are you going back? I'm like, surprise. I'm not going back. So I was back there and all I knew was one thing. So this is where the motivation, if you want to play background music, this is where the motivational element comes in, okay? This is where it comes in and I tell you that sometimes in life, it's not about the path you're going through that will reach you. I'm not saying I'm very successful now, but at least I believe that I'm on the highway to success. And I feel it with every little milestone, like one being TEDx, thank you guys. So like every little milestone makes you feel like the redirection of your life, like when you reroute your map, you have a sense of Google Maps, some chechi is telling you like, take right, right? So you take that right, sometimes it's very risky, but that's probably your reckoning. Now it sounds very interesting when I say it like a very motivational speech, but the fact that once you turn around and then you come back and then you see a rat race of people who are like, there are some million bloggers already here. What am I to do? Go to a restaurant and do it? Somehow, I had Eat at Trivandrum functioning well and good back home, but it was already a business model and we had like some 3 staff and it's running efficiently. And I see, what do I do with Thank God I'm Fat? Then I realized that what I do, somebody else cannot. For instance, everyone has their style of doing a video. I recently, I was at MBIFL when there was a talk going on and then someone asked, how do you stay consistent, right? It's staying true to your work. Like nobody can be you unless you try to imitate somebody. So there's inspiration and imitation. Like you get inspired and then you do that thing on your own. The minute you imitate, you're just a second person to someone else's work. You're just doing something that somebody else did, but you're just doing it to make it more popular, right? Don't imitate. So that's when I realized, know your food, or my IP is like, now you know, or researching about food is not something the food bloggers in Kerala do today. And that is not a fault. It is their way of doing it. Why would I be an extra fish in the pool doing the same thing? Because it's going to be an option for people. They're like, okay, if I want to go to a mandi, I'll probably check her video. If I want to go eat like an Italian, I'll check her video. I don't want to be that. I want it to be, if you're eating pasta and you want to see what's a macaroni, or if you want to see what's a penne, oh my God, what is written on this menu, you go to my feed. And be like, has she done a know your food on that? Has she done a know your food on what sauce I should try with the pasta? Why is there a bread served with pasta? Have you guys thought? Why is there a bread served with pasta? To soak up the sauces. These are things we kind of neglect when it comes to food. Let me bring it down to Kerala food for that matter. Why, or any element on your banana leaf, like if you has anyone come to Thiruvananthapuram yet? Thiruvananthapuram, there's a specific way a sadhya is served, right? It goes from your dal, which is the gassy food, then you break it with dessert, and then you go to acidic food. So it's like a whole complete meal package, and you get all your flavors in one banana leaf. No, my brain functions like that. No, why did dal get served first? Why am I eating sharkara second and then pal payasam? Then why am I eating rasam and more? Now, I'm not expecting everybody to think that way, but what if there are people who think along my lines and might resonate with my videos? And so, from there, I created my own IPs. know your food, travel virtually with me, figure out stuff like, there are a lot of travel bloggers who do, this is the beach you should go to in Thailand. What if I don't want to go to that beach, dude? What if I'm a normal traveler who went to Thailand and just saw street food and ate it without looking at an Instagram profile? That's what I wanted to create. It's my own voice. And slowly, I went from 30K to 50K, 50K to 100K right now. So 100K was this feat I probably dreamed of in 2018, but happened now, like very recently. It took me 6 years to even get here. But I can tell you that people can try to imitate me. I'm not trying to imitate anybody. And that's where you set that benchmark. And when I came back and I set foot on this land and I realized that Kerala food needs a global positioning, is when I reconnected with my child. And when I tell you, I reconnected with my inner child. My inner child who thought I could be a Nigella Lawson. But Nigella Lawson was talking about what she knew best, and I am talking about what I know best, which is choru, taire, and matti pirichadu. Right? How do I make a matti pirichadu and make people fall in love with it? How do I take naan bread and butter chicken and chicken tikka masala and just take it aside and be like, dude, there's patrode. Dude, there is other stuff here. There's tandoori chicken, there's reshmi kebab, there's all other kind of food, and Punjabi food is not the only food from India. So this idea of reconnecting with my passion only happened when I realized that I was losing touch with it. I was losing touch with my own self, and that somewhere around the way, I lost myself. I lost myself and I lost the zest, because I thought there should be this path that everyone was following for me to even achieve something, until I realized that sometimes you don't have to think about what your dad says. Sometimes you don't have to think about society's 2 cents, because they're not going to pay for you. They're not, I will tell you one thing, they're initially going to tell you, "Ayyo, ee kochine ni aari kettum to ende mon doctor." So it will reach there, and at that point you can tell people that you listened to your heart and you reconnected with your inner child and your passion. And the art of rediscovering something you just thought you lost and coming back to it is a feeling I really hope all of you get to experience. Because right now you're probably doing engineering, and most of the engineers try to find their passion afterwards. Like my brother's an automobile engineer. He's now singing on stage. So if there is like an artist inside you, there's a designer inside you, there is time to still go back and reconnect to your passion, and I really hope you find your retro way. Thank you so much. That'll be my time. Thank you.